Going in.
We used to think a child's education started in kindergarten.
Bebo! We need a Bebo!
But that can be years too late.
There's a whole foundation that gets built over the first years of life.
These doctors, parents, and teachers are helping preschoolers get off to a good start.
When we ask children to rise up to higher standards or higher expectations, they don't let us down.
Funding for Toddling Toward Reading is provided by the United States Department of Education, Office of Special Education Programs. Hi, I'm Reba McIntyre. My mama used to teach in a one-room schoolhouse near Chalky, Oklahoma. My grandmother was a teacher also. And if this music thing hadn't worked out, I might have been a teacher myself. When my son Shelby was born, I finally had a chance. That's because a child's education starts on day one, long before he goes to school. So when we sang songs together or talked about riding a horse, Shelby didn't know it, but he was getting ready to read. In the next half hour, we'll meet some families, teachers, and researchers around the country who are discovering what it takes to make the most of those early years. Our first stop is Washington, D.C.
How do you say it?
Long before children set foot in a classroom, we can start giving them the skills they'll need to become strong readers.
Learning to read is much more than a set of skills that you get in school. There's a whole foundation that gets built over the first years of life.
Laying that foundation starts with mom and dad. All it takes is some quality time. 2-year-old Ava Johnson and her mother Kimberly spend time reading and talking together every day.
She loved books from the very beginning. She used to chew on the corners and just start to play with turning the pages. And now she's gotten to the point where she really appreciates the story itself. Going in.
Ava is lucky. Only 60% of parents of children under 5 say they read to their kids every day, leaving the rest to play a dangerous game of catch-up.
This is the perfect thing.
Dr. Robert Needleman knows that children who are not read to early often start school at a disadvantage.
We know from very close study that when parents read with their children, they're really teaching language. And language is tremendously important for children's emotional development and also for their ability to succeed in school.
That's because early language development and later reading skills are intimately connected. The more you talk with a baby or toddler, the bigger that child's vocabulary will be by age 3. So even if parents are not reading with their kids, they should be talking with them all the time.
Uh-oh, what happened? The box fell out.
A box is falling out, isn't it?
When you only talk a little bit, it's only business. It's come here, sit down, stay there. It's simple, it's not abstract, it's not fun. When you talk more, you're not talking more business. It's about something else. That's the good stuff. The more the child talks, the larger the vocabulary they have, the more different kinds of words and phrases that they use in their oral language, the easier and more readily they become readers.
Studies show that children who enter kindergarten with poor language skills have a very hard time catching up. The single best predictor of how children will do in school is how much they know before they get there.
If you look at parents with the least amount of education, 30% of them say that they're reading aloud with their children every night. 70% don't. So that shows us what a long way we have to go.
To get there, Dr. Needleman co-founded Reach Out and Read. It's a national organization that works with healthcare providers like Dr. Nicole Lang to offer early literacy training as a part of regular pediatric care.
Oh, welcome.
The inspiration for Reach Out and Read was the realization that reading aloud is a tremendously important part of children's development. And yet we in pediatrics didn't know anything about it.
Since pediatricians see both children and parents from day one, they're in a great position to help kids get a head start on reading.
We have so many frequent well child visits,
and we teach families how to be healthy. And this is a part of that. You know, he may just want to put this in his mouth because he's teething.
When we bring the book into the exam room and we actually see how the child responds to the book and see how the parent responds to the child responding to the book, gives us an in to talk with the parent about a very important topic, which is, what can you do to help your child to grow up intellectually alive?
Sometimes there can be literacy problems with the parents or grandparents, or if they weren't read to as a child, they don't see the importance of reading to their own children. I say, well, just talk to them, sing to them, read to them.
Dr. Lang also tells parents to watch for early milestones in learning to read. At 6 months old, Isaiah should be reaching for the book, eager to turn pages.
Can we find a candle?
2-year-old Justin should be pointing and identifying pictures. He should be able to say at least 50 words and to talk in 2 or 3 word sentences.
What's a lion?
Children who miss milestones should be checked for hearing issues or developmental problems. Kids with lots of ear infections should see a doctor too, because the infections can lead to language delays. But even for kids like Justin, who are doing well, the time spent reading together can really pay off.
How much reading is enough
The
reading?
book you want to read?
If parents say, well, I read to him 5 minutes every day, I ask the parent, how's it feel? Oh, we love it. Okay, so if you love it, make it 10 minutes. And if you love 10, make it 15. We know that when children grow up to be successful readers, they have been read to often, on average, 30 minutes a day.
I feel so fortunate to have had such good exposure to reading and books my whole life. Reading isn't just a luxury, it's really about your health and the child's well-being.
Whether children get read to on a regular basis at home becomes one other way in which disadvantage gets transmitted from generation to generation. We have an opportunity to interrupt that cycle.
We're giving them lots of good information that they're taking to heart. And when we talk about reading and how important that is, then they also say, okay, well, I should be doing this too. Just as I give my child fruits and vegetables, I also read to them.
That's what you must do. And the beetle lent the spider a helping leg or two.